Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on May 4th, 2022 at approximately 6:25 a.m. PST. Now, I classify myself as a spiritual guide simply because the tools that I offer, and the tools that I offer are ones that I personally live by, that I personally work with when they apply to me. And the philosophies of life that I live by, that I talk about, are the ones I personally live with, live by. And if you ever run into me in person, you'll find I'm exactly the same way. Okay. I'll be in a whole lot more control while I'm away from people, which is part of the reason why I spend a lot of my time in this little 10 by 10 cell. Okay, that sounds really bad. My office is about 10 by, actually, I think my office, including the closet over here, is about 10 feet by 12 feet. But this is where I spend the majority of my time. And to be clear, the office itself is the brain of both your house and your home. This is where you really have to sit and deal with things. This is where the logic and the creative side overlap. You yourself being the essentially the cerebral cortex of your life. Okay, you're the one that has to do the work, regardless of how many people give you the insight. Until you get that feeling here in your heart and really start things moving, okay, you're likely going to run into complications. And you can tell yourself, and many people can tell you that something's got to change. And your mind may say, yeah, it really does. But the reality of it is, until you get that emotional imperative to make things happen, you're likely going to run into problems. Now, if I go back, even 2 months ago, okay, but let's go back 6 months. I spent the majority of my life living essentially one paycheck to the next. If I did not have that one last check, I wouldn't have rent. Well, I'm happy to say that with the tools I talk about here, okay, with those tools, what ends up happening, or what has happened, is I now, after helping two people out with major problems of their own, one being their rent, okay, I still have in my bank account I've got, let me think here. Well, I've got access, even with helping them out. I've got 2 months living expenses in the bank, or 2 months rent in the bank without doing any damage to me. And I've got access to 2 months of living expenses. Correct. Yeah, because I just cleared the credit card. So I've actually got 3 months living expenses available on credit if I have to have it. Now, fortunately, I know the person that I gave a hand with. The one I gave a hand, and it was cleared like that. Just a week or so, and it was cleared. This one's going to take a little longer, but the reality of it is, it's not causing me a problem. And that is the first thing that you got to get through that head of yours. Helping people is a fantastic thing. Okay. And that's saying a lot, given if you look at the dictionary, I really am very much a misanthropic philanthropist. Okay. And one day I will have the money in my possession to be able to do all sorts of things. Not just little things, but I will tell you, I know for an absolute certainty the one person I help straighten out, what I do is I help them out in such a way that to them it is a staggering help. Okay. And something to keep in mind with kids, when kids come to you with a problem, and bear in mind, every one of you is a kid. So the first thing you have to realize, okay, actually, before I go there, the other thing I did was literally up until this month, where it comes to consulting fees, because I work face to face as well as over the phone, but over the phone goes through that goes through work. Okay, working face to face. Okay, I was I was charging up until this month. I was charging $180 an hour. Okay, And I got thinking about, I'm watching prices go up, and it's like, how about if we do something absolutely bizarre? And we turned around and went, nope, we're not charging that anymore. And I cut my regular pay down, my regular charge from 180. I sheared it off to 90. Okay. No sooner did I do that than an old client of mine who was already, because they were a longtime client, and I always grandfather clients in. I've always grandfathered clients in at the old rate, right, at whatever rate they were paying. Well, in this case, she come and we did the consultation for her. And at the beginning of it, I said, I've got some good news for you. Some bad news and good news, but you're going to have to wait until the end of the consultation. So when we got to the end of it, they had the money out, ready to pay for it. And I took one look at it and went, here's the good news. Okay, and I looked at the money. They had the right amount. I just looked at the money and I went, well, considering I just sheared off the overall cost for everybody else, and you're below that already, here's some of the money back because your cost is dropping. Now, this is completely backwards to what most people are thinking. Everybody goes, oh, the cost of inflation is going up, so let's increase our prices to accommodate. I did the absolute opposite. I sheared my cost in half. Now, the fact of the matter is, at $90 an hour, it takes it right into the point where people can actually survive on it. Okay, where people that require it. I still get paid for consulting, don't get me wrong. And to emphasize that aspect, when I say contact me by email, contact me, if you've got a question, drop me a line and I will answer it. I don't charge for that. In case any of you have not figured that out by the number of questions I've had over the line, from these videos. Okay. But things are shifting, but they're shifting, and they only shift if you make the shift yourself. Now, this changing the direction society is going in is a major problem. Now, here's the thing. Okay, and these are obviously physical books. These are ones I've personally written. Okay, this one, Believe in Your Business and Follow Your Dreams. Now, something to keep in mind where it comes to your business. Okay, a business most people think means go out of the house or have a definitive business, what people recognize as one. But here's the thing you have to understand. Okay, if you're a housekeeper, no, correction. If you are simply you're a stay-at-home person, you don't have a business, you have a job, you have your house. Your house is a business. You still have to make sure the bills are all paid. You've got to make sure expenses, upkeep, insurance, all of that's got to be paid. So when I went and wrote this, grabbed the wrong one, I think. Yep. Nope, that's the right one. When I look at this, I keep the book very small. Okay. But this is the backbone. This is the backbone to running your house. This one I wrote as a backbone to running your home. This is Believe in Yourself and Follow Your Dreams. But the tools that I offer are the ones that I have used to go from being on the edge of bankruptcy again, which gives you an idea how well the bankruptcy trustees did in helping me at all. They made money, don't get me wrong. But if you're on the verge of bankruptcy, and I don't expect you to take my word for it, but if you don't desire to go bankrupt, absolutely give me a call. Okay, does it cost from a consulting standpoint? Certainly. But the reality of it is this. The cost of going bankrupt, from everything I've talked to from people, the only people that make money at it are the ones that are actually doing the consulting for it. In my case, I don't see the point. If you're already in trouble, There is no point in beating you up for it. Oh, how did you get into that? If you knew that, the odds are you wouldn't have done that. Okay. So I've got my office set up here, the brainchild of my office. I'm still trying to figure out. I'm guessing since that's my eyes, should actually do that, you know. That'd be an interesting idea, but not necessary. You know, I've got the computer set up. I got the printer working, which was a remarkable feat in itself, but at least it works. Okay, and now I can start putting it to use. And no, I'm not going to. I was tempted to just about turn on the printer and get one of the pictures done, but you get the office, which is the baseline of the brain. Okay, and you get it working, get it so the energy is running smoothly. In my case, mission accomplished. Now it's a case of capitalizing on it. Okay, and since I've just wiped out, where's my eyeballs? Eyeballs. Now, right now, here's the funny thing in my accounts. Yeah, is that okay? In the account that I've got for rent, okay, I will be able to, if I pay attention to what I'm doing, I'll be able to bring things up on track. What am I looking for? Invoice. Business account is okay, so I can make a withdrawal from that and bring up my basic account, which is even better. Okay, I've got to move some of that over there. But, yeah, over there, that didn't help you at all. Absolutely, it is critically imperative that you keep the finances in your house dealt with. Okay, now, right now, the brain itself is getting cleaner and clear of clutter. I've got a couple of spots I still have to deal with. Got a whole pile of files on computer that I've got to go through. Okay, basically clear my head. Okay, but the office itself, the brain of the house and the home, is up and running properly. There's a little bit of scatter, but you know, what the heck. So when we take a look at it, the first thing you gotta realize, okay, is you have to have, and I think this is the road I'm gonna go. No, never mind that. I'm not going to think this is the road I'm going to go. While I'm can we try one thought? What do you think? I'm going to do the planning of a book that I'm in the process of writing. I already know what the basics is and what the basics are. I've talked about the issue. Now, here's the funny thing. This is one of the ones I have to redo. This little booklet has in it the backbone of the backbone of how to handle money if you have minimal money. There's lots of great books out there. If you got $30,000, there's lots of great books out there that'll tell you how to work with that kind of money. But as I was always told, if you can handle the little bits of money, then the big bits will be easy. Okay, because as the neat little saying that my dad always told me was, "You take care of the pennies, and the dollars will take care of themselves." I'm living proof that that works. Okay, so I've already got this one that explains, like obviously I've got those two, but this little book here has the backbone information in it regarding how to track money, how to make it work. These are the same tools that I've used to go from on the edge of being on the street to having a 4-month window. And I'll tell you, the feeling of that is absolutely phenomenal. But let's get started on the other one that I'm working on. And this is what I mean by I don't work on only one. Which one do we want? That one. Okay, in order to get things moving, first of all, like I said, you've got to have that imperative mark here. You can be told your finances need to be straightened out. Absolutely, you can be. And you may be one of these people that repeatedly digs yourself back into the same hole, doing the same thing over and over again. You may be doing that by simply not having a different way of looking at it. Okay, and that's the thing that I'm going to be focusing on for the next little while. Okay, while I get this other book read. Okay, because it's going to end up in print. There's no question there. But the first thing that you've got to deal with. Okay, and here's the thing. I'm going to tell you how I'm doing it. Okay, so that you can learn the method while I'm at it. Now, somebody may take the idea and go, oh, I'm going to print this book out. Be my guest. Okay, it doesn't matter from my end. Okay, I'm going to be putting it in print when I can get it done. I've got a lot of other things on the go. But you've got to have that drive here. No matter how much you get told here, if you don't have that emotional drive, you're going to have a problem with it. But the first thing you've got to do, you have to have a purpose. Why do you desire to get your finances in order? Is this because everybody else is telling you you should? Probably not, because if that were the drive, you wouldn't be doing it. Okay, and you might be one of the rare ones that does do it because you're told that. But you've got to have a personal purpose. Okay, for instance, I've got that personal purpose of I'm not content. I remember what it's like living on the edge, living on the edge of poverty. Well, living below poverty, but living on the edge of being on the street. Right now, I'm sitting here going, I've got the money in my bank. Okay, where I don't have to worry. If I all of a sudden end up without an income, I've got 4 months to actually get work, to find some sort of income. My goal is to take my writing and turn it into a going concern. So the first thing you've got to have is a purpose. If you don't have a reason to do it that hits here, okay, maybe that reason is just I don't desire to hear people complain that I'm always having money problems. Maybe that's your primary drive. And that's a good primary drive. It gives you a reason to do it. I'll tell you, harassment, emotional or intellectual harassment, because of the fact that you're having troubles. What people don't get is you may be having trouble, certainly, but people seem to think you're having troubles is because you're just doing things in a stupid fashion. Okay, now stupid to me means you know better and you do it anyway. Okay, when I went bankrupt, the 2 times I went bankrupt, okay, one was on $6,000. This was at the guidance of a professional. Okay, the second time was at 14. Now, I will tell you that's just absolutely stupid. Okay, there is no viable reason to go bankrupt at that level. Sometimes maybe there is, but I'll tell you, I don't agree with bankruptcy anyway. Okay, because what happens when you go bankrupt is you're denying the bills that you legitimately caused, whether it was stupidity, whether it was ignorance, doesn't matter. You drew up the debt. Therefore, it's your responsibility. When you go bankrupt, you're saying, I'm not taking responsibility anymore. So you lose out from that end. Okay. The person you owe the money to loses out because they're not getting paid. The only person that's making money that it works for is, in my opinion, the bankruptcy trustee. That's the only one that really makes a benefit from it. Okay. Even the government doesn't make a benefit from it. But what it does, so you start there, we have to have a purpose. Why are you desiring to get out of debt? Okay, why are you desiring to get your finances working right? Is it because somebody else And like I've told people going when their kids are looking at university, who cares, in all fairness, why they go? Okay, if university is important from your standpoint, why your kid goes to university does not matter. Why you get your finances in order doesn't make any difference to me, and in all fairness, to start with, it doesn't make any functional difference to you. The important factor is that you get started with it. So once you've got a purpose, now you can actually figure out where to go from there. But the purpose is paramount. For me, I got tired of living on the edge of am I going to have a house next month? Now I don't have that threat. Okay, using the tools I talk about. Okay, using the tools that I talk about, I have managed to go from one paycheck away from being on the street with my kid. Okay, and in all fairness, because I've got a friendship with my ex, I would have undoubtedly ended up there if I'd have ended up on the street. Okay, but you've got to have a purpose, and whatever that purpose is it because you desire to become a millionaire? I'm not the one to tell you yet how to become a millionaire. I can tell you the theoretical side, but I am not a millionaire. Okay, I can tell you these methods work to get you off that edge of, gee, I've only got, if I don't get my next check, I'm on the street. My methods will, if you put them to use. And to be clear, the best tools in the world are useless if you don't pick them up. I can tell you from practical experience and from the number of people I've talked to that using these tools will take you off the edge of am I going to be on the street to having money, food, and a way of functioning in your house. Okay. And just dawned on me from my standpoint, it really boils down to this. You take that stress out. You take that financial stress out of the equation, your depression will start to loosen, even if it isn't caused by finances. Taking that weight off, and maybe that's all you're looking for. Maybe you're just looking for a way to remove that stress. Getting your finances in order, getting the energy in your office, in your brain, moving properly. It will alleviate the stress from the finances. It will help deal with the depression, with that feeling of helplessness that you're dealing with. Okay. Maybe it'll help with simply putting money aside so you can get that holiday you've dreamed of. Everybody else is going on holidays. Why can't I? Well, I don't go on holidays because, quite frankly, I hate traveling. Okay, but as things open up, and this is where you guys have to be clear on something, it's up to you, not up to the government. Now, overthrowing governments and what have you is just absolutely stupid. If you want to see how that works, okay, I believe it was Orson Welles who wrote it. It might have been George Orwell. I keep getting the two mixed up. But the book is Animal Farm. I absolutely recommend you read it to see what happens when people try and do stupid things like overthrowing management, overthrowing categorically overthrowing governments. It's just absolutely stupid. Okay. And it results in the same thing. You get chaos for a while, then you get another government built on the same idea as the last government or the last management. Okay. And you end up back in the same boat anyway. Same with finances. If you don't straighten out the problem, and that's where I made the mistake. Okay, I had a massive money come in from my parents' estate, and it solved the problem. I wiped out the debt, but I didn't solve the problem. I saw that is a symptom. The problem was my outlook. Okay, and even once I figured it out, and I figured out what the problem was back in May of last year, but it took me until May of this year. It took me a year of really fighting with it to get it through my head that the methods that you have to have a definitive purpose in order to get things to move. Once you've got that purpose, that focus, you're able to move forward. Okay. Because when you do that, you change the way the energy in your life, in your brain, is working. Okay, and that is ultimately where you're looking for. That purpose, whatever it was. Perhaps it's you desire to buy a new house, but you're looking at, I'm living on the edge. Now, I will tell you, if you're my age, and I'll be 59 in what, 2 weeks now? Okay, if you're my age, the odds of putting money aside to actually buy a house, much as I'm not interested in buying a house anyway, for a lot of reasons. If you're paying land taxes, you're still renting. Okay. See what happens. If you don't believe me, don't pay your land taxes for a few years. They will take your house. Same idea. If you don't pay your rent for a few months, they will take your house. So if you're paying land taxes, you're still renting, which is why I personally have no interest in buying. Okay. I just don't. I mean, technically, I may eventually buy, but if I buy, here's the way I do things. And it's not a bad idea in my eyes. If when I get enough money that I can actually buy an apartment building, okay, then I will take a look at a number of factors, not the least of which is standard rental contracts and what have you. But the one thing about it is I will not run it the way most apartment buildings are run. Okay, one of the biggest beefs I have with apartment buildings, okay, is apartment owners. They hire somebody and they get somebody in there to manage the building so they don't have to deal with it. Right. And as soon as they do that, they put the person in, but they don't give them rent. They do not put them up for free. One building to do that, or one apartment to do that much work, frankly, is just absolutely stupid. It's just selfish and greedy in my eyes. The manager, in my opinion, should be getting the rent for free as payment for the fact of doing so much work. Okay, if you're been charging your landlord, the apartment manager, if you're charging them rent, you're not paying them properly. It's just that simple, in my opinion. But you've got to have an absolute purpose, whatever it is, however shallow it may be to other people, doesn't matter. Okay, now we will carry on with this in a couple of days because of the rotation I'm working on. But I will be back again tomorrow. Oh, before I do that, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel. Okay, and absolutely share the daylights out of it. There's a lot we're going to be working with. And now that I've got focus on the even days of the month with regards to this. Okay, we're going to walk you through the construction of a book that I'm actually going to be producing. Okay, that I'm going to be publishing. But that being said, the tools are the ones that I personally use to make my life work properly. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to let you go. I will be back again tomorrow. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.